lesson is the objective is to convert fluently between key fractions, decimals, percentages. So what we mean by that is there are methods that we can convert any fraction between the fraction, decimal, percentages, but there are some that are key that you kind of want to know off the top of your head. So you have the fluency there. That means you don't have to necessarily work them out. You just know what they are. And some will be easier than others, of course. So if you can begin here, what you need to do is work out these answers, and then that's the first one, 1 divided by 2, 1 divided by 5, and then write these divisions as fractions. I just want to draw your attention across to here. In order to convert any division like this, we could just use the bus stop. Now it's peculiar because it's 1 divided by 2, so when you put it in the bus stop, the smaller number goes within the bus stop, but that just means you just put a decimal point and a couple of zeros. Then we can go, how many 2's in 1? 0, carry the 1. How many 2's in 10? 5, and we're done. And 1 divided by 2 is the same as a half, so that's what you're going to answer down here. And in question 3, for a little bit of assistance, you see this number here has 3 digits after the decimal point. If you just make the others the same, then it's much easier to compare in terms of which is biggest, which is smallest. So here we go at those questions, please. Pause the video, of course. Okay, so the first one's 0.5, 0.2, 1/2, 1/5, and then they are in ascending order, so smallest to largest. 1/5 is 0.2. You'll want to know that. So here we have a bar model. It represents just one whole or one of whatever, and we've split it into 2 equal parts. So we know hopefully that as a decimal, each part of that is 0.5. 0.5 add 0.5 is 1.0 or 1, or 0.5 times 2 is again 1.0 or 1. So if we looked at that, we know that's a half. 1 divided by 2 is a half. But if we looked at the 1 as 100%, then each of those is going to be 50%. Divided by 2, 50%. So that tells us that 0.5 is the same as a half, is the same as 50%. What about if we've got 1, same bar model, but we split it into 5 this time? And just be careful, by the way, we're counting, this is 0. So 1. It's not 1 until you get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 1 divided by 5. So as a fraction, got to be a fifth. I think they're going to do decimal first. Yes. So if you did 1 divided by 5, as we did in the starter, you find that your answer is 0.2. So that is 1/5. 1/5 is 0.2. And maybe you can guess what percentage it is. If it's 100% in total, we've divided by 5. It's going to be 20%. Also, you'll notice very quickly, the method to convert from percentage to decimal is to divide by 100, and from decimal to percentage you times by 100. Percent means per 100, remember, out of 100, so this is 20 out of 100, 21 hundredths. Okay, so 0.2 is the same as a fifth, is the same as 20%. What is 80% as a fractional and decimal? Well, if we look at it on here, we can see that this is 80%, 4 lots of 20%. So we can match it across to this bar model. So it's 0.2 plus 0.2 4 times. So it's 0.8. And that is a decimal. And as a fraction, it's going to be 80 out of 100 because that is percent, 80% is 80 out of 100. But then you can simplify it. So let's have a look. Okay, so 80 out of 100 simplifies to 8 out of 10, 8 tenths, and then to 4/5. So have a go at this question. Pause the video, match them up. There is a fraction that matches a decimal that matches a percentage. Please match them up. And a perfectly acceptable strategy is to start with the ones that you know or that you're most confident with. Then it narrows down your options for those that you weren't sure about. Not entirely sure when to put the answers up. I guess now. Okay, so there are the answers. Pause it, mark them, please. Right, next up. So here we've moved away from a bar model, but we've got some other type of array, but it's just representing from 0 to 1. So much the same thing, and we've broken it up. I've counted them previously, but there are 10 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So it's broken into 10. So if we think about this part, it's 2 along from 0, so it's 2 out of 10, 2/10. So Amir says the arrow is pointing at 1/5, and Dora says the arrow is pointing at 20%. Who is correct? Please pause the video and have a little think. Okay, well, we can look at this one. As I was saying, this is 2 out of 10, so it's 2/10, and 2/10 simplifies to 1/5. And that's Amir. On the flip side with Dora, well, if this is split into 10, then each of these is 10%, 20%, 30, 40, 50, 60, etc. So this is 20%, so they are the same. So they're both correct. 2/10 is the same as 1/5. 1/5 is the same as 20%. 2/10 equals 20%. It's all the same. What is 4/5 as a percentage and a decimal? Okay, so there's a couple of ways to convert from a fraction to a percentage. One of them, we can convert it into a decimal first, do 4 divided by 5, which if you work out is 0.8, and then you can convert it to a percentage by times by 100. Or a nicer way, well, depends on the question, but is to convert it into an equivalent fraction out of 100. So 4/5 converted to an equivalent fraction out of 100. So what do we have to do to the denominator? What do we multiply to get 5 into 100? We've got to times by 20. So we have to times the numerator by 20, gives us 80 out of 100, which means it's 80%. We can also go straight from 80 out of 100 and think, right, well, it's 80 divided by 100. So 80 divided by 10 is 8, and 80 divided by 100 is 0.8. That gives us both answers. What is 60% as a fraction? 60%. And then what is it as a decimal? You can either simplify first, or you can just do 60 divided by 100. Percent means out of 100, which can be simplified to 6/10, which can be simplified to 3/5. And then 60%, 60 out of 100 is 0.6. You can either do 6 divided by 10, 0.6, or 60 divided by 100. Either way, you should be all right with that, hopefully. Questions 2 to 6 on the worksheet. So question 2, you're going to have to pause the video. Question 3, pause the video. Question 4, pause the video. And the other part, question 4. Question 5, pause the video. And question 6, pause the video. Okay, the answers to question 2 are there in front of you. 0.15 is halfway between 0.1 and 0.2. 60% is 6 out of 10. Next bit. It's been peculiar today. Question 3, there are your answers. 35% is halfway between 30 and 40%. Here are the answers for question 4, please. They were both correct down here. 0.8 and 0.80 are the same, and they're both the same as 80%. You just don't need that placeholder, the 0 here. Went up to 6, didn't we? There's question 5, the answers. And there's question 6, the answers. I'm just going to double check this is recording, because I've already done this once, not recorded it, which is fun. Number 6, good. Okay, and the final part. Half of the children in a class have blonde hair. So a lot of the time we're going to be using this fluency between fractions, decimals, percentage to convert to compare values. That's the way it often comes up in exam papers. So here, look, we've got half of the children have blonde hair, 35% of the children in the class have brown hair, and we want to know what percentage do not have either blonde or brown. So everyone else, basically, what percentage is everyone else? So what we're going to do, the question asks us to answer as a percentage, so we might lean towards percentage. But what we're always going to have to do is convert each of them, the fractions, decimals, percentages, into the same way of counting. So I convert them all into fractions, or convert them all into decimals, or convert them all into percentages. So because it's asking for the answer as a percentage, it kind of makes sense to convert to percentages. So this one already is a half, we know is 50%. So if we add them up, so 50% blonde, this is brown, this is blonde, total 85%. So to work out the percentages that don't, we just subtract it from 100%. 15% have neither blonde nor brown hair. Write these numbers in ascending order. Again, you're just going to have to convert them. Now, again, we might go for percentage or we might go for decimal here. The reason I don't want to go for a fraction, convert them all into a fraction, is just because this would be either 59.5 over 100 or 595 over 1,000. I don't know, it's just a bit clunky. Whereas these, when you look at percentage, it's basically already a decimal. You just divide by 100, you can see it straight away. This is a decimal, and we can just convert this to a percentage. So have a little think, see if you can have a go at that. So 3/5 is 0.6. We've looked at that a bit. So you want to get used to, because they haven't even touched upon quarters here, have they? But I think they're assuming you know that. But fifths, 1/5 is 0.2. So then 2/5 is 0.4, 3/5 is 0.6, 4/5 is 0.8. Really useful if you know that off the top of your head. And they've just divided this number by 100 to turn it to a decimal. Then you can see which one's smallest. We're going for ascending order, so start with the smallest. But please note, you must convert them back into the format they were already in. Otherwise, you always used to lose a mark. I don't know if that's still the case. But so rather than writing 0.595 as the smallest, write 59.5%. Okay, so you convert it back into how the question was originally asked. So 59.5, 3/5 is 0.62. And then you can do the rest of the worksheet, which I will just get up for you. Question 7, pause and do it, please. Question 8, pause and do it, please. Question 9, pause and do it, please. Well, I shouldn't have given the answers, because what I can do is I can just, you can come to me for the answers. So well done. I hope that helped you with your fluency, just to get used to quickly being able to change between, basically, we did halves and we did fifths, didn't we, really? So quarters, hopefully, be okay with as well.